Hey everyone, back here in the Excellent Art Room. Today we are not at school. We are in my home studio, so background looks a little different. Maybe sometime, maybe next time, I will give you a little tour of this space. It's not much bigger than this, but there's definitely some paintings from other books up on the wall there. I can kind of talk you through how I use this space. Right now we're sitting at the computer where I usually write. So a lot of the writing and things happens here, and then I head over that direction when I'm drawing. But we can save that for another time. This week, just a short, simple, kind of fun drawing game of sorts, I guess, that I found somewhere. I don't remember where I saw it, but I've spent some time this week painting a bunch of these 5x7 random watercolor pictures, and I was not thinking anything when I made these. So these are like spur of the moment, just like take the watercolor paint, like make a big sort of wet, brush strokey sort of image, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn them into whatever you see, right? So it's pretty fun. I mean, at first when you start looking at things, it's a little bit daunting and a little bit challenging, right? And you're like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm going to do here. But you kind of sit with it a little bit, and slowly but surely you discover something in it, and then dive in, go for it, see what happens. So I'm gonna show you a couple demonstrations of that, so you can see two random blobs become something, right? The other thing I want to say real quick before the demo, I think this whole video is going to be like 10 minutes, is that the art is packets for anyone that is my student at Liberty Bell High School or junior high. I would like to see these come back. So we've got 4 more weeks of school, and I know you guys have had these for a long time at this point. And maybe you did half of it, maybe you did a third of it, maybe you did the whole thing. I want to see it. I'm excited. I want to see what you guys did with some of these drawing prompts. I want to see what you guys did with some of the little challenges in here. And don't worry if you didn't finish the entire thing. Honestly, here's a page where I did 2 of my daily drawings. I did not do the pet portrait on the top, right? Other places, like I filled it all up. But I definitely have a lot of blanks, and I expect that you will too, but maybe not. So anyway, send it back to me. You can use the bus, you can use the drop boxes, and I'd like to get all these in the next 2 weeks. So let's shoot for having those back to me by the first week of June, so I can look at them. I can share some of them on the Instagram page for the school. So anyway, a couple of demonstrations of these creative watercolor drawing exercises, and then you guys can share those with me too. So have a good weekend, and we will talk to you soon. All right, bye.
So first here, this red dragon and girl kind of sitting cross-legged. It's just one that I did and it's finished. And then I did this other one too, right? This yellow hippopotamus with a bright green tail. What you've got here now is one that has not been done yet, right? So this is about double speed. It's going to look like I'm drawing a little bit faster, but you saw first, I took the little watercolor blob and I flipped it around, looked at it, one way, then another. And then all of a sudden, I just saw this shape. I saw what looked like a head. I saw, what looked like hair, maybe draped down. And then what I'm aiming for here, and what you'll see me do, is creating the picture of a girl reading a book. So there's that kind of curving backwards J shape that looks like an arm. Look at that, I just decided to just adjust the chin a little bit. And I'm just using a Prismacolor pencil. It is important when you do these that you make sure the watercolor is dry. I think the paper is just going to rip and things if you're not careful and making sure that the watercolor is dry first. But once it's dry, you could draw over it with ink, you could draw it with colored pencil, you could draw it with pencil or marker or whatever you want. And I found some of these shapes that seemed obvious, and then there's a few things that seem less obvious, like what's this over here? Okay, well, maybe somehow I can turn this into a lamp. So some of those things, like that sort of curving shape that comes down on the right, felt like the side of the base of a lamp. And then I actually liked that, that little bit of shadowy kind of lighter stuff, almost felt like where the light shines through the lampshade, right? So then I drew that base in there for the lamp. Now I'm just going back in and touching up a few more details. I'm getting pretty close to being done at this point. I just thought I'd make it look like it was the edge of a desk or a table. and maybe just get back in there and punch up the contrast just a little bit more at that sort of darker hair on the inside shadow of her face. So that was example number 1. And oh, it looks like I looks like I thought about it for a second and then went back to try to darken up a few more things. Oh, you know what? As I remember now, I think I sharpened my pencil. I needed to get the tip of the pencil a little bit sharper before I went back into those tinier spaces. You guys have all experienced this, right? But you know, Prismacolor pencils are great. Every once in a while, you'll find that the tip is getting a little too dull for details. It's not like a crayon, but they need to be sharpened every once in a while. So that was example number 1. And I've got another one to show you in a second. Okay, for demo number 2, I've got this purple shape. There's like a darker half and a lighter half, and I will admit this one was harder for me. When things get hard, sometimes I go to my default, which was look for polar bears, and I found this sort of head. I don't know, for whatever reason that darker purple blob looked like a riding helmet, and then a little bit of a nose sticking out. So I thought I would make it look like there was a polar bear riding a horse. All this thinking is kind of split decision, and quick thinking. Right? This is meant to be fun. You can't hem and haw about it for too long. You just got to go for it. As usual, my horse looks like a warthog with big long legs. I know there are many of you out there that draw horses way better than I do. It's just simply an issue of drawing what you know, and I do not know horses very well. I really need to practice and get a little better at drawing them. Yeah, it looks kind of like a pig, but that's all right. So it goes. I feel like whenever something like that happens, right, you get a few other things going for you. Sorry, you can't see the leg down there. Horse legs are also very hard to draw, very challenging. But I did put a saddle on it. Tried to put some reins on it. I think the mane becomes pretty clear, and then I'm just kind of slowly adding some extra details that go beyond the purple. I've already used up most of that purple blob that was there, so I turned that into something, and everything else is almost like the best supporting actor, right? So the main deal is set, and now it's just a matter of going back through and sort of refining things and sharpening things up, and then at a certain point I've got on my lines, and now I have decided that I can get even more down in the weeds and add a little more detail, like some rivets on the saddle. These are meant to be pretty simple drawings, so you don't have to go too far or too long with these. Of course, you can take it as far as you want, but then just like in the first one, it becomes nice to create some separation, with different areas of the drawing, different lines. Yep, sorry, did a worse job of filming this one by adding some shadows. So thankfully for you all, this is going pretty fast. You can't even see what I'm doing right now. So it'll be a surprise to everyone when we come back. So just doing a little bit of shading, trying to make it look slightly 3D, even though it's very much a two-dimensional line drawing with just one color. But punching up the darks a little bit more to make that mane stand out, make some of the textures in the hair stand out. Going back to the tail now, because it's nice that can kind of match the same feeling as the hair on the horse's mane. And then, yeah, I thought I would be able to do a little bit more shading in certain places, give the horse fur just a little more detail. It looks like I'm darkening up some lines here, and again, adding just a little bit of depth, a little bit of dimension, giving a little more form and shape to those lines by adding just the subtlest little bit of shading. I think in this case too, darkening up the hoof and making those pop a little bit more, it kind of reinforces in my mind that, hey, this is a horse, even though it also honestly looks a little bit like a horse body and a pig face. So anyway, there's your 2 demos, and I hope you guys have some fun giving this a try yourself. Please do share them with me. I look forward to seeing them. Thanks a lot.